It's great to be back in the community. It was some time already sitting in home and coding for yourself. And well, I was thinking a lot, and before I start, I wanted to do a little bit of a sidekick. So basically, does any one of you know the buzzword indie hacking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so indie hacking. So basically, what does it mean? It is the idea is
outsourcing to India.
no. It's more like to indie rock.
All right.
Okay, it's like independent. So the idea is that people now start to bootstrap businesses, products, SaaS products by themselves without any funding, basically bootstrapped as it's called. And there is a whole community of it. They are called indie hackers. It's also on Twitter very famous, and there are a lot of people who basically even cannot code, and with the use of no-code tools, they were able to build products that they sell via subscription model and reach financial freedom. Like a dream comes true. So perpetuum mobile, basically, what can be easier than harder than that? Easier than that. And there is a meetup in Vienna called Indie Hackers. It's based on the indiehackers.com community. The last meetup was like 2019, and it's basically not active anymore. Yesterday I met one quite talented founder that is making 2,000 to 4,000 euro monthly with recurring revenue, just basically selling some products using subscription model. And because I'm very interested into this topic, even though I really like to work for companies, I think it is a really great thing. And I also talked with Max Stoiber, maybe you know him from GraphCDN. I think he's the most famous indie hacker ever in Vienna. Famous, maybe not, I don't know, but he's very famous on Twitter, like with 50,000 followers. He built, for example, a SaaS toolkit called Bedrock, which is selling quite good. He co-started with some other Viennese guys, SplitBee, which is basically analytics, like Google Analytics, but for a small niche. And I talked to some other people who are very successful in this area in Vienna. And so I want to found a ViennaJS, Vienna Indie Hacker Meetup, like a community, and I would like to invite you there. So if you are interested in knowing something about it, about how to talk to customers, how to find out what they actually need before building huge products, how to basically learn from others, how to get with a very simple MVP to like 10 to 20 to 30 customers, then I would like to invite you that you may join. There is a QR code I can give you later, and please talk to me if you are interested in this, because I'm really focused on building a community, because I feel quite alone. I speak to Max, I speak to some other guys, but it would be nice if we get some really like power meetup where we learn and also practice and share knowledge and try things while we are working for our employers.
What kind of companies do you want to hack?
Well, not companies, but yeah. Okay. that's I guess it. Let's get started. I didn't prepare slides. I would like to just start doing things. It's React, so I hope you are fine with it. There are some unused things that will be used, so bear with me. It's very simple React, it's just hacked together. The nice thing, what I used for this, because I had only time to prepare this today, and normally you would start like with create React app or something, and I tried white this time, VTEP, and it's a really nice bundler. It's built on ESBuild. So ESBuild is the fastest bundler, I think, ever. If we go into ESBuild and check it out, you might see that, let me quickly check. Here are some. So Webpack takes for some amount of data 43 seconds. Here Webpack 5, 55 seconds. And ESBuild, you even cannot see. You just start like compile and you're like, what's going on? It just stopped. Is there some error? What happened? But actually, there is no error. It's just blazing fast. But it's just a what is it actually? It's a bundler. So, and then there's white.js, which basically Vite.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry that's
Sorry.
redundant, but we need to actually start it right because everybody has a problem with the name.
Yes, they have.
It's on the spec actually.
Yeah, they even write it on the website.
I know it's on the everywhere.
Okay.
They
Yeah, because I saw it today the first time I used ESBuild at our company, but there's also there are some others like Snowpack, but this one I just wanted to try how it is, and I was set up within 30 seconds, and it is so fast. It is incredible. For that, another thing, because style components is through the roof, and if you know maybe CSS and JS, so there's one disadvantage. There's a lot of runtime bundles. So there's this nice guy, I forgot the name, from Twitter that created Sparkle's vanilla extract. Vanilla extract, let's see. And this is basically vanilla extract. This is JS. So, and this is a zero runtime style sheet in TypeScript. I just wanted to try it out, also never tried it. Was really fun. Well, I didn't do a lot of this, but it has a native plugin for the white, so I just threw it in just to try it out. Also worked immediately. So basically, they're inspired by Tailwind, yeah, it's not yet that much popular, but it's a really nice thing if you want to have, I guess, a very small bundle.
TypeScript only? Or?
Yeah.
I think almost nothing is TypeScript only. I guess if it's TypeScript, it is running also JavaScript, so you don't have to use. But you know, if you don't, it's your oh, sorry. You can kill me later. Opinions.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I just threw some stuff together, and so the idea is to make imperative prompts. So usually we have something like this, and we basically create a pop-up. Do I need to do something here? I guess on cancel. So basically we would say to set visible to false, and oops. And the idea is to do you really want to continue? Okay. Did you look? Before we start, we can just start the server and go to localhost 2000. Okay, and it's something like this. There's nothing special. I will do it a little bit bigger. So this is how we usually do it. We always have something like this in the in our render function, and then we have a state where we can set or hide hide or show the pop-up declaratively. I'm not sure that there may be different options. There could be something like show, but the thing is, it's like this. The only issues, for example, if you might have multiple pop-ups, or if you have a set of cascading pop-ups, recursive ones, or if you maybe use like wizards, then you would need to have more states, and then you would add more pop-ups because they might be all a bit different. And I had this crazy idea because when we think about what basically is when we do something like let's console log a diff. Oh, let's say diff. What is happening here? So it is returning basically just an object. There's no magic behind. And when I was always talking with people, then they felt like the JSX or something magical. But it's not. You can basically you could do something like say let's say and have here inside a diff, right? And just render it out. There's nothing special about this, and it's in general the output of a JSX function is just an object, and that object is used to render stuff. That's basically how I understand it, and that's always how I used it. And with this in mind, this means that technically, if let's say we have here the state, and we would have here a button with click me, and you would have a on click, then you could set state to be H1. Hello, Vienna. And doing this, it works. So it's imperatively rendered. It works. So there's no magic behind it, and I'm not sure what the disadvantages are because it's just a crazy idea. So that's also how I was thinking about building a imperative and in the end still declarative way of showing pop-ups. So and there was another idea. What would happen if there would be something like prompt, which doesn't exist in this case, and I could do something like this. Prompt, await, const result. What would here happen? And is this in any way possible? And the answer is yes, it is possible, and it is not that crazy. The idea would be that you would set into the state the promise, but also the resolve or reject function, and then call it technically later. So let's quickly remove this one. Sorry, it's a token. And I have stomach issues, so I was at the doctor's today. Coke is the best thing for it, I guess. So let's now do something different. I have a pop-up, right? That I define. We can look quickly into this. There's really nothing special. It's just this one doing this. This is just some idea that we can remove. And by the way, here we can look a little bit into the vanilla extract. So basically, you can it looks a little bit old style because we are defining it on a CSS level, and this file will never reach your bundle. That's the idea. So we have a pop-up root where when we click on the outside, it will close, and if we click within, it will say open. No magic. So when we want to do something like this, we have use fast from. I call it fast from because that was some sounded fancy. So we can create a fast from, and we have here let's create the wrapper. That is basically a host for our modal, which will be of FC, and that is wrapper props. Sorry. And now we basically render out the pop-up. Come on. Pop-up, yes. And here the children. And there are some other props that, for example, are dismiss and show, yes. So we will have show, otherwise 0. Since I have Prettier, I just smash the keys and let the Prettier then finish the stuff. And we have the on cancel, which will be on dismiss. So now what this is doing is it is giving us a hook that is giving us the functionality to open a pop-up using this pop-up host, like the surrounding of it, and we can now use it in the whole application. And you can get the information by content and ask. So you will have fast prompt, and do you need to do something here? I guess. Oh, right. I'm not sure anymore. Okay, so first thing, we will render out the content. That's the magic thing that happens behind the curtains. And we have now the button, which will be a async thing, where we get some response. Let's say response would be await ask, and that would be of a boolean. And now we have a on submit function, and now it starts to be interesting because now we do something like, do you want to continue? I'll give it a fragment, so we can actually put some button here. Yes, and no button, and no. On click would be basically on submit true, and here we would have on click. Sorry, on submit. I should prepare it a little bit better, right? Did it format it? Did it work? Yes, I guess. And now, basically, if response. So, what is happening here? We are really asking for something to render in here. So when we are here, this whole thing was regenerated. So I even don't get it into my head how this must be, because when we rendered it initially, then the first on-click function was created, and as soon as you render it again, it's already a different one, but you are still in the old one. But we are doing it all the time, right? We are doing something like await fetch somewhere, and then we set the state later. So it's not that inconvenient that we basically fetch something asynchronously in a function while we set loading, and then got the responses later. So it's not that uncommon. And so basically, response now will be of type Boolean, as we said. And we could now use an alert, because why not? Use a...
While we can.
Huh?
While we can.
We can.
They're removing it.
Huh?
In Chrome, they're removing alert.
Not in micro. But they are thinking about putting it back again, I heard. What I wanted to do.
First they are deprecating.
The user decided response. Let me say not to continue. What is that? Okay, so let's see if this works. Well, that's the old state. Oh, does not provide export default. Let me quickly check here how I did it here. What's the default? Check. Index. Okay.
Try bracketing the pop-up import.
Because I'm not sure if.
No, it is default.
Huh?
TypeScript doesn't like default imports in general.
Yes, I think it was just weird. So now we have a pop-up. I'm not sure if we are aware of this. So we click the button, and we are now exactly here inside somehow. So we can still close it. Nothing happens. In this case, this one threw an error. So, but when we open it, then we can say basically yes, the user decided to. So we had this await thing, and it actually waited for the whole render thing to happen, and then continue, and we could do the alert. Or we say no, and the user decided not to continue, okay? So the user decided to continue, and he decided not to continue. And now the fancy thing is that what would happen if you basically do this little dude. We do it again. Yeah, so basically we could do the same. Let's see. And it would still work, but I don't demo it because I'm writing too slow in my nervous mood. So I will. You can trust me that it's working. I'm just showing you here the code. That basically we could do something like this. I think we can just copy it. What do you think? I think we can just copy it. And replace the contents. Submit. Submit. Sorry. I hate this trackpad. It's horrible. So do you want to continue? No. And now we have an additional pop-up. You saw it maybe on the blur. It is still working. And if we look into this, now we can look a little into the source code. So this is actually very useful because you don't have to manage any state on this level. You just asking things. You can await them. You can, for example, use it for wizards that you say, do you want to do this and not, and then basically a little bit easier write the code. I'm not saying that it is very much readable. I'm just saying that it's working and that it's quite crazy that you can do it. And I wonder why I didn't see it yet in the. Maybe I'm doing like there's something crazy going on, and it would bite me in the ass. So I am not using it ever, but it's still a nice experiment. And yeah, so. If we look really quickly into how did I call it? That's basically the bathroom. So if we go into it, one of the main thing is you need to get the promise in a line. I'm not sure how it's called. It's just because when you say new promise, you will get the resolve and reject function, and you need to put it out and expose it. So basically, what this is doing is it is returning you a promise, but also it is giving you the API to resolve and reject. And with this, basically, we are setting those things into state and have then the possibility to resolve or reject the promise. So it's not using any state in this case. And then to have basically multiple prompts be possible, I did some reducer here, which basically allows to add a new prompt to the state. The state is basically just a list of prompts, and prompts are have this signature. So basically, it's an ID, and it's the render function. So it's this thing here. So if you check, it's this whole thing that you basically set into this state. So you have the content here, which is the render function, and then you have show or in the promise where you can imperatively to resolve it. This is not all exposed, so there's just some small parts. The actions are just currently just adding and dismissing stuff. And the reducer is doing it as follows. So if you set an action like add or remove, it's just basically adding it into it. And if you want to remove it, you just filter it out of the state. So in the end, what we are rendering here, it's still the usual thing that we are doing. So there's nothing special. It's just really re-rendering based on state change. There's no illegal stuff here going on. It's still completely, as Dan would say. And yeah, and then the wrapper props is basically the host that I defined previously. So you could define different kind of prompts, either a modal or I don't know, like some notifications or stuff like this. And yeah, so you could call them like this. And then there is this prompt component, which actually is the thing that renders the state, the items in the state of prompts. So it will get a reference to the dispatch. The prompt is basically the thing that contains, for example, the render function, and we give it the wrapper. And this functions as follows. There is, as you can see, the reject and resolve that we get from the prompting, and we can resolve here and reject. And we, of course, still dispatch the state, so it is correctly reflected. So it works both ways. You even don't have to you even don't have to await it because yeah, it will be still closed. Yeah, and here's the part where we basically render the thing that we put into our ask function. We give it the onSubmit and the dismiss. So basically, when we are adding this part into the ask method, we are actually just rendering it using this one. And now to the create fast prompt. That's the thing that basically can instantiate you the whole wrapper, the whole host. And in the end, there are two things that are returned. So basically, first the children, all the children that are rendered and added declaratively, and then there is this show prompt method, which basically is doing the weird part, which first generates the function where we get the. Is it innards? It's not a word,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
It is a word? Oh,
Yeah.
nice. I was like, the promise innards. And yeah, we dispatch like the add, we give it the promise, we give it the render function, and then we return the promise, which you can basically await. So this thing is the one that you can resolve using the innards. And that's how it basically works. I think that's almost all, I guess. So regarding my presentation, yes, thank you. If you are on Twitter, please follow me because I'm trying to get some followers. I have so few. And, I really would appreciate to like really like.
Desperate.
Yes, desperate, very
Would you
desperate.
be also eager to answer some questions if you have any? Yes.
Bitchy.
So I don't really have a question. I just want to congratulate you on bringing such a fucking crazy idea to fruition. I mean, I consider myself a React developer by craft, but I still have a hard time following what's happening.
Oh shit! I'm sorry that then I made some mistake.
And I mean it in the best possible
Okay.
way.
So okay. So was there something I could have explained a little bit better, or what is the maybe the promise thing is weird or something?
This was just a chaperone.
Okay. Cool.
Maybe kind of like the wrapping, all
Yeah.
the things, how it differs to like high order components. If you combine this model with high order components,
Well, I think you can. You just
because it's kind of like a pattern used all over.
I'm not sure. You mean like you would wrap, for example, what would you wrap with it? Or do you mean like, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like high order components
Yes.
using for injecting stuff like inheritance and object-oriented programming. You have it, it's all the Redux stuff.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how this would relate to this one, because with higher order components, you are just extending
Functionality.
the some props that might be. So for example, we don't have to do the wrapper like this, you know, you could also say like something like with prompt. So if I would work on this library, then I would make basically adapters for, I don't know, ants and all those libraries that have pop-ups. And then I would expose probably something like you would have then where you would import, and then you would say something from fast prompt and then ant or something, and you would have the ant pop up or something, or like use fast prompt, and it would be basically compatible with it somehow. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. So it is still it's just a hook, you know, and higher order components were a step before hooks, but you can still wrap a hook into a higher order component, right? It should not be that that hard, I guess. I think we could with fast prompt, you would get a component, right? And then you would say something like this one.
What I meant is like you can refactor, so to say, all this stuff you have in this prompt with promises, blah, blah, blah. You can put this in a high order component and then use this with the different prompts and labels, etc. you're using.
I didn't think so far, and I wouldn't know how it would benefit something, because it's just an idea of asynchronously putting something somewhere and waiting until it does something else. Like, because we are doing if you are showing your modals with just use state with set visible and whatnot, then you are also not putting it into some higher order component. You just, I guess.
Two things actually. One thing quickly, I think the whole promise with the inert stuff.
It's catastrophic.
No, not at all. I think that's an actual thing that's called deferred.
Yeah.
But I have one more question, which is when I need to debug stuff in our applications, I mostly, large majority of the time, I look at state, what they have there. Booleans, I understand. How was your experience debugging this before you're working with React streams and object representation?
So as I said, it is still just state. It is nothing special. So if we go into the inner living here, the innards, then we will find, I guess, I'm not sure where. Is it here? So usually you should be able to see the is it here? Yes. So you have the state all the time here. It is just adding up. So when we add it here, it's just a new state. Because we are, I'm just like it's like a reducer, like React's own Redux thing, and you could also put it into. Like, you could not put it into a Redux because Redux would shout at you that it's not serializable. It's not serializable because we have a render function, we have a promise. There will be no no-go, and but it's just basically action. You dispatch, and you have a reducer who will take this, render it, and then create basically a on-click handler that is taking the promise and resolving it. So we have we have the states all the time here. That's what I wanted. So basically, even though there's this async thing, and the async thing is just an addition to it. It's just not the whole thing is still declarative. The only difference is that at the point where we dispatch the state and we do the typical Redux thing, which is okay, at the end, basically, I also resolve the promise or reject. So it's just an additional step, basically.
This code, the final version, where it is actually implemented, are you going to publish it somewhere so that we can play with it?
Yeah, I could give it to you. I was thinking about working with it. I think I remember I had some disadvantages with it that could be solved. But yeah, I think I think it's. I was like. I had this imposter syndrome there where I was like. I was expecting that you are crushing, because it's so crazy.
We shouldn't, even if it was.
And maybe I was expecting that someone says, "Well, have you considered this?" And I would like get right and.
You might get some pull requests, so it's not a bad thing.
I was thinking if I could implement this in Vue, honestly, that I mentioned before, and how it would look. Because
in Vue?
Vue, ViennaJS.
So the
I already used Vite, which is from Vue, and
yeah. Okay. So one thing that I think what a big problem is here. I think it works only with React because I'm not sure. Because the JS, not even JSX, because as far as I know, Solid.js is using also, but it is transforming it into like imperatively talking to the DOM. And here we have actually objects that we can pass around. So that's why it's working in React, because React is under hood doing React create element, and React create element is just an object. It's just type, props, and you can pass it around, and then you render the state. That's why it's working so good. But I think I would not know how. I think if I would try it in Solid.js, it would basically not work because I cannot pass around the results of JSX. I would say, I'm not sure. So for example, I think it would also, I'm not even sure if it would work with React Native or this React PDF, because it depends on the renderer, I guess. No, it should work also.
can you go back to this line where you get the React element? It's the node thing that you mentioned.
This one, this function here, or where I'm doing the create. So I think I don't even create a React element.
You don't?
Because it's a render function, but I had this idea to put it directly into like put it without, and it would this one. So every single this one is under the hood React create element.
Okay.
So if you there's no difference. We can check here. Const A React create element div and const B React div. I think there's no difference.
Try logging equality on them.
No. It's a new thing because you are calling the different functions. But if you would, for example, say console log A type equals B type, I think this is true. I'm not sure, but I think it's true. So it's the same. It's for React. It's the same thing.
And okay, so you do that div. Can you go back to the header function? I mean, I cannot. I would not say that I have fully understood what you're doing, but this is why I wanted to work on it to actually help myself understanding also fool around.
Mm-hmm. What was the question?
Make it public.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
If you want to just mail it to me, it would still be fine for me.
Yes. Sure.
If you feel uncomfortable about making it public,
Publish it on Twitter.
I did it. I also wrote an article on that, but as I said, you need to follow me, and then the thing is, nobody's listening to me. I feel like
you still have more followers than most of us.
Yes.
So just like Dan made his name on Redux, when you get hired by Facebook, can you please remember all of us in the room?
So the thing is, I tried. I was already rejected, so it's not happening. And I think it was a stupid idea. Even wanted to go there.
Indie hacking for the win.
Yes. Financial freedom. Yes. Anything else? And now we will talk basically about financial freedom. later on private.
Yes, cool. Let's wrap it up. So basically, we have this other area that we can now attend, and yeah, let's just hit it over there. Thank you, Lucas, for the
Yes.
talk.